My name is Keisha Smith. I'm 16 years old. I'm currently living with my mother Janet in Trebanog in Rhondda Cynon Taff, who has recently divorced my father. I'm currently on a local young offenders team due to my bad behaviour over the past few years. I also smoke fags and go out drinking with my friends late at night, meaning that I do not come home till late. Due to my bad behaviour, I'm currently not doing very well in school and I could end up failing all my GCSE'S. Even though I'm 16, I am not employed and I do not want a job. A lot of what I've mentioned has left me feeling very demotivated and I've been told that I'm isolating myself, although I do not realise it. After speaking to a doctor recently, which I did not choose to do, I have been diagnosed with depression. Multiple theories can be used to describe the way in which a young person can experience adolescence. Physical and sexual development theories suggest that there is a rapid growth of the reproduction system, growth and many physical changes within the body. Due to Keisha being only 16, her growth rate would have started to slow down, although by 17 most teenagers will have completed puberty and physical transitions from childhood to adulthood. Hormones can also increase in this time, meaning emotional responses to everyday events. Keisha is coming to the middle and late stages of adolescence, meaning hormonal balance should be achieved. Also, social behaviour in the context of relationships. Adolescents, such as Keisha, will still be influenced by their peers, although there will be a decrease in the power of peer pressure, as adolescents have the tendency to be self-sufficient and self-assured as they mature and start to undertake social and intellectual characteristics. Adolescence is a time of transition, when they develop and shape an identity, whilst trying to define boundaries and differentiate between themselves and others. This may be a contributing factor to why Keisha's behaviour is so bad and she is rebelling. Body image is a huge aspect of self-representation in adulthood, and as they idealise norms of physical attractiveness to feel adequate, although these can be unrealistic. Young people tend to rely on physical appearance and characteristics to describe themselves. Erickson suggested adolescents experience a search of identity and psychosocial development. External factors such as parents and society can influence personality development from childhood to adulthood. A clear identity is formed through the passing of a series of interrelated stages over an entire life cycle. On the other hand, a series of uncertainty can be created as they move from childhood to adulthood. Social factors can play a vital role in identity development, as social circles widen and strong external factors sometimes replace even family. Adolescents will explore political and philosophical ideas to develop individual identity. For positive, healthy psychological development, integrated identity needs to be achieved. Failure to do so could result in mental illness or cause role confusion. This confusion can result in being unsure about their identity and beliefs, which could cause problems with direction and identity in later life. Keisha will be going through this stage, usually associated with adolescence, which is identity versus role confusion, which is reliant upon what a person does as she struggles to find her identity. Other developmental psychologists have expanded on Erickson's ideas that suggested identity exploration may be more complex than we ever thought. James Merrick extended on Erickson's work by viewing the process of identity development as consisting of two aspects. Identity diffusion, where the adolescent does not have a sense of having a choice, he or she has not made a commitment. Identity foreclosure is the status where adolescents seem willing to commit to some relevant roles, values and goals for the future, meaning a realisation in their role and identity, conforming to these expectations of others regarding in their future.
Another theory is Bandura's social learning theory, which involves imitation and modelling. Bandura's theory includes the constant interaction between behaviours, environment and personal factors, which Bandura refers to as the reciprocal quotient model. Although Bandura does not suggest that all three factors make equal contributions to an individual's behaviour, as it depends which factor is the strongest in a certain moment. Bandura conducted a Bobo doll experiment within his social learning theory, where children watched a woman act aggressively towards a doll. Bandura found that all the children imitated the woman by displaying an equally aggressive behaviour towards the doll. It was clear that the children were given no direction or encouragement to be aggressive towards the doll, instead they were simply imitating the behaviour. This theory and experiment can relate to Keisha's situation, as Bandura explains the factors within the individual's life, such as behaviours, environment and personal factors, can affect the way an individual behaves. Keisha was brought up around an abusive relationship, which could suggest that Pandora's Bobo doll experiment can relate to Keisha, as this has had a negative impact on her behaviour. The abusive relation between her parents has also created Keisha to become more aggressive to her mum, as she's learnt this behaviour and believes it's classed as normal. From Brenner's theory is on the environment known as ecological theory. This is between an individual and the environment, which can relate to Keisha. He recognises the importance of relationships on the human development and suggested that they could be divided into 5 distinct subsystems. The 5 subsystems are microsystem, which is the people and groups who the individual has immediate and regular contact with. Mesosystem is the environment in which the microsystem functions, school and community. Exosystem is the factor that indirectly has an impact on the life of the individual. This would be mass media, parents, workplace and employment. Macrosystem is the cultural aspects of the society, social policy and political power. Chronosystem is the stage and age of the individual. Brenner shows the way Keisha will experience the world in a deprived area. As a child would have a close relationship with their parents, and this could come under the first step of the subsystems. As Keisha moved into adolescence, her relationship with her parents was not secure, as they had an abusive relationship and got divorced. Keisha does not spend family time with both of her parents. Her mesosystem would be affected as well as her material well-being, as she does not have the desire to work or start earning her own money. She may not have access to transport coming from a rural area. Her learning and development will be affected as she is failing school. Her society and her safety would be jeopardised as she lives in an unsafe neighbourhood involving drugs and alcohol. Her physical health will deteriorate as she will not be eating healthy and she smokes and drinks.
Piaget's theory of cognitive development includes 4 distinctive stages in children, which include sensorimotor, preparational, concrete and formal, which can help explain Keisha's behaviour. The sensorimotor stage focuses on children between birth to 2 years old. The child focuses on what they can see and what they are doing. The child begins to understand themselves and how things work through interacting with the environment. The preparational stage focuses on children between 2 to 7 years old. The child is not yet able to conceptualise abstractly and needs concrete physical situations in order to do so. Concrete operations are for children aged from 7 to 11. This stage of the theory explains that the child's physical experiences. The child begins to think abstractly and create logical structures that can help explain their physical experiences. The formal operational stage, which focuses on the child aged from 11 plus. By this stage, the child no longer requires concrete objects for them to make a rational decision. This will now be able to explain reasons behind their actions. This part of the theory links with Keisha, as she is 16 years old and has made a rational decision to smoke cigarettes and cannabis daily on her own behalf. This photo of Keisha crying illustrates that she is very upset that her parents are divorced. To be discriminated against means unfair treatment to a person or group based on their life choices. Keisha's parents are divorced, which could cause discrimination against Keisha and also her parents. This could have caused psychological issues and bad behaviour. It may have caused discrimination or bullying in the school and when out with her friends. Also, she could be seen as different to other people as her parents are separated and no longer together. Keisha also lives in a place where everybody knows everybody, meaning everybody would know her parents' situation and that they are divorced. People could become prejudgmental and may even discriminate without even realising. May 2009 suggests that discrimination is described as unfavourable treatment in an equal situation to any individual based on their religion, race, belief, disability, behaviour, age or sexual orientation. This could suggest that Keisha could face discrimination due to failing in school, as many employers will not offer jobs to individuals like Keisha due to their lack of qualifications. Keisha could also face other types of discrimination due to failing school. An employer may believe that Keisha would misbehave or be unreliable without knowing her background, and as she has no qualifications, people may not employ her at all. Employers are unlikely to look at Keisha's background to understand why she has not obtained any GCSE'S. If Keisha wanted to take part in any work experience, job or college to resit their exams, they may have the view that Keisha has been lazy in the past due to not obtaining high grades in her exams. This means that it may be difficult for Keisha to pursue opportunities that could help her in the future.
This image shows how Keisha is discriminated against as she smokes. Keisha is 16 years old and smokes both cannabis and cigarettes daily. Because she does this, there is a high chance that she might get stereotyped by individuals, as cannabis is illegal in the UK. Keisha will get stigmatised as a drug addict, resulting in people acting fearful and scared. She may find it's normal to smoke illegal drugs because of the environment she lives in. Many of the population that live in Trebanog and the Rhondda Cynon Taff smoke illegal drugs. People label Trebanog as rough and wrongly distance themselves from people who live there. In Trebanog, there is a high quantity of people who do drugs and drink alcohol. Keisha can seek support in her area by contacting Rhondda Cynon Taff Council. Keisha may also get stereotyped that she suffers with depression. People who suffer with depression have days where they feel weak, tired and down. When Keisha is experiencing a high level of depression, she lays around feeling worthless and struggles to get out of bed. People often stereotype depression as someone being lazy and trying to get out to doing daily activities. It is easy to assume that someone is using their mental health issues as a free pass to be lazy. One label given to people who have depression is they are unmotivated and don't get on with everyday tasks. People who suffer with depression are often stereotyped as attention-seeking or desperate. The area in which Keisha lives in is in poverty. Living in poverty can increase risks of mental health issues. Mental health issues are shaped by the social, economic and physical environments which people live in. This image shows Keisha being self-centered. Within a globalized world, adolescents are excessively egotistic, regarding themselves as centre of the universe and the sole object of interest. At no time in later life are they capable of so much self-sacrifice and devotion. On the one hand, they throw themselves enthusiastically into life of the community, and on the other, they have an overpowering need for isolation. They hesitate between blind submission of some self-chosen leader and defiant rebellion against any authority.
Social capital is defined as a network of relationships among people in a certain society who share the same norms and values, which enables society to function as a whole. Social refers to the networks and institutes individuals interact with to attain personal goals. Capital refers to the different aspects of these interactions that they use to achieve shared goals. Social capital as a whole creates trust among many community members, which increases the volume of individuals to impact the process. A social capital is defined as the resources that are obtained due to being part of a network of social relationships. Keisha currently does not have many relationships due to networks which can provide her with personal goals and advantages. One of Keisha's main networks that involves social relationships is school. However, she is currently failing and likely to leave schools with no GCSEs. This means Keisha has a lack of opportunities for the future, being predicted with minimal or no qualifications, which provide her not having a well-paid job. Keisha also has no desire to find a job or to start working. This is lacking in her social relationships that she may have gained if she went on to further education or applied for a job. As Keisha is only young, she is likely to have a lack of relationships from different backgrounds. This means that Keisha does not interact with networks, which encourages her to achieve shared and individual goals. The four main reasons for making a more globalised world are more efficient markets. This is a sign of efficient markets is where there's a difference between what buyers are willing to pay for a good service and what sellers are willing to sell for goods or services. Increased competition is introducing a new standard into the globalised marketplace, which means that the public have more of a choice to choose from. Better products and lower prices will enhance people to buy more. Stabilised security suggests that globalisation helps world security. As a result of there still being so much violence in the world, globalisation has altered many conflicts. There has been more wealth equality throughout the world, meaning thousands of people around the world now have jobs, started their own businesses and can provide comfort for their families.
This photo of Keisha and her youth workers shows that there are several models of engagement that can include voluntary engagement. This can be important youth work practice, as young people can choose when to engage and access supervision when it is required or needed by them. Youth workers can build trust and retain a voluntary relationship with young people. This can help Keisha, as she can choose when to engage with youth workers to help her situation. This can help her get off the streets and attend youth work centres. This will help Keisha by building a relationship with a youth worker to create trust and safety, and this can happen in a range of environments. Another model of engagement is non-formal and informal education approach. This can give opportunities that can reflect the needs of young people and demonstrate an inclusive approach. This is a range of core learning principles and approaches in the youth sector. This can involve critical thinking. This can be done in a teaching or training environment. These courses are planned and will address certain target groups. This can help Keisha as she is failing school in her GCSE'S. This can offer extra support and guidance to help Keisha get back on track. This may help her pass her GCSE'S and become a better person rather than take up drinking, smoking and drugs. Participation of young people encourages and enables young people to share responsibility and become equal partners in the learning process and decision making. This will help Keisha as it will allow her to feel like she oversees her decisions. By allowing Keisha to make her own decisions will enable her to feel empowered and feel like she is making a difference. This can help change her attitude and possibly come away from the crowds that influence her bad behaviour. This may change her view and attitudes on her life choices.
This image shows Keisha working with a youth worker and engaging through activities. Neglect or abuse from parents may mean children such as Keisha are not used to adults listening or understanding them, this resulting in them not knowing how to express themselves. They may decide to keep their thoughts to themselves due to being wary of adults. They may worry about the consequences of what will happen if they are to talk about their lives. With some young people, direct dialogue through writing, talking and signing are simply not enough to engage with them or help them discuss the issues. Models of engagement such as activities and playing games can build a rapport and develop a safe and trustworthy atmosphere to ensure that young people feel relaxed. Emotions or difficult matters may be helped when a metaphorical language such as artwork or stories are used. Uncomfortable intensity of an interaction can be reduced by using a third thing or a third object, such as toys, building blocks, or engaging in board or computer games.